Hi, I'm Rallis,
And Katie.
and we're here with our home remodel, our gothic kind of new horror Adobe retro fixing up our house. I don't know what we call these series.
Okay.
Anyway, this one is about having to fix our mess up, which was on our coffin-shaped mirror. We had put it together with hot glue and then sealed the whole thing with a clear gloss. And hot glue is usually pretty damn
It
strong.
would have been fine if we hadn't gotten such hot of lights. Those lights were insanely hot. Just as soon as that one skull fell and we realized what was happening, we took off anything that would come off. The other bones that stayed on there were still very secure, so we just left them in place because it might have damaged the bones to take them off.
Yeah, and I went in with some very small wood carving tools and just actually removed the hot glue and kind of like chiseled it off, so to speak, without damaging the mirror.
The one skull that fell needs to have its teeth put back in, so Rallis is using super glue. We took the mirror off the wall without unwiring it. It's just propped up on a table and a tower of buckets so it can lay flat.
And we went in with a really strong 5-minute epoxy that I happen to buy in bulk for other things that I use it for. But you could use any epoxy. Okay, so this is part A, the resin. We don't need much. And I keep it tilted like that because I'm going to need that much of part B. Part B is a little bit thicker. You got those bones ready and you know where they go?
We'll figure it out.
Okay. So I do an equal amount. And then I stir for a minute. I count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 29, 30. You know where that one goes?
It'll be right here.
Okay, well, cool. Flip the bone over. Come on. Where's it hit?
There, there, there.
Okay.
Oh boy, I don't like this.
There. 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 A little more there. Okay, flip that over. Cool, that's it.
Okay.
Let's get the second one. And good, we just made it in time. It's getting ready to, see it's starting to thicken up, so I just want to show that on camera. And the next thing we did is I ordered some LED vanity bulbs. The LED bulbs are very, very cool in comparison as far as temperature goes to the lights.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say about them?
The bulbs?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
They're fine. The mirror should be fine now.
Okay, the mirror's all good now.
And the epoxy worked. I was worried that it would run too much and we wouldn't get enough contact with the bones to hold them on there. But it really holds, it's got almost as much contact as the hot glue did. And it's pretty gooey.
Yeah, you're talking about the footprint of it. Part of what made it gooey is it was a cooler temperature atmospherically, because when it's really hot out, that 5-minute epoxy will level out and go liquid. Like if it was 90 degrees, yeah, it would have run more. But because we were closer to 65 degrees, it didn't run as much, which was good for us.
Before the baseboard gets installed, I need to caulk around the shower curb with silicone. First, I clean the floor and tile with 99% alcohol to remove the Sharpie line from the flooring cut and to remove any oil or dirt that might be on the surfaces. The floor wasn't perfectly flat, so the vinyl tiles have some give. When the vanity goes in, I don't want it to put pressure on the caulk where the tiles are depressing, so I'm using weights to hold the floor down while the silicone cures. Rallis is cutting the silicone container open so he can mix a custom color. He works with silicone a lot, so he's no stranger to this. Plus, he's amazing at color matching. You can get caulk in the same color as your tile grout. Ours is DeLorean gray. But we need only a small amount and the rest would be wasted, so we'll mix our own color and use up some open tubes of clear silicone that we have on hand.
These are silicone pigments. So I'm gonna need some white, need some brown, and need some black. And you hardly need any color, so I like to just use the tips. So I do that by twisting them when I get just tips. So the first color that I want is white. Take that, I'm going to stir that up a little bit. You can also use oil, artist oil paints. So you don't need much black at all. So just a tiny bit. And it's hard to get just a tiny bit. And you can see how that changes the color pretty drastically.
Oh, oof.
Yep.
Ugh.
Smell it now, right?
Yeah, I got a big old whiff.
Acetoxy, that's the vinegar smell. Where's our flooring example?
Right down here on the chair.
All right. So it's not far off. I think we're going to need some yellow.
Does this dry about the same color?
Yeah. Don't want too much. Less is always more when it comes to this stuff. All right, let's check our color. We're getting closer right there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we're going to need the brown. Two little dots. You see them?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we will do brown.
Oop.
There we go. Hopefully that's not too much.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
Dang it.
Screwed the pooch. Sorry, honey.
That's okay.
All right, so I want to show that this was my screwed up brown color. I took about half that and I mixed another white, black, and yellow. Mixed that and then I added the brown there. And then as we see, our shade is going to be good. I wanted it to be a little bit darker.
Okay.
Just a tiny bit darker than the flooring.
There's a little bit of black on the side of the container.
Okay, that's good to know. Because this shit gets everywhere. All right, good. So now we've got a little 20cc syringe. This is the cap that comes on it. And what I did is I just cut the top off to give me a little tube. And that's a 20cc syringe. They make cooking ones that you can get, or you can find them in arts and craft stores too. But what I'm going to do is just load this in. And it's a messy process.
Yeah, it looks like a messy process.
It is. And I know that I've got to get the plunger in, so I can only go so far with this. That's that. So that's pretty well full, right? I'm going to take the plunger, and there's going to be a little bit of resistance. There we go. So I want it a little bit darker. I think we're pretty good.
I'm squeezing a bead of caulk large enough to fill the gap, spritzing my finger with 99% alcohol, and then smoothing out the bead. I spray alcohol on a paper towel to get the residual silicone off the tiles and flooring and get a smooth line. You can use blue tape on both edges to make this easier and faster, but I'm just going to do it freehand. I only do a small section at a time so it doesn't skin over while I'm working. It's easy enough to blend in the next section with a gentle touch and alcohol.
So baseboard trim, you have a couple options. There is the wood baseboard trim that you can buy by the foot. Ends up being really freaking expensive when you do that. Mm-hmm. You can get the, I guess it's like a pressed particle board, kind of.
Is that MDF?
It's almost MDF, yeah. It's similar to that. But that stuff will swell with moisture.
Yeah, we're very opposed to having that anywhere.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're going to be mopping your floors and...
watering your plants, overwatering your plants, come on.
What are you trying to say? Have I overwatered some plants? Do I spill stuff? Yeah. Okay, so we don't want stuff that's going to swell. And we were looking at that. And then the other option was PVC-based trim, which, hey, it is impervious to water. It's used for pipes. So we're like, okay, we'll get that.
I had already painted the baseboard with 2 coats of black, scuff-proof latex paint. We're starting at the shower, and Rallis made the first cut to slightly angle the edge of the trim. All of our cuts are for corners, so we'll need to miter them, or cut them at 45-degree angles. I took the measurement of the wall and marked the bottom of the trim, but the mark needs to be transferred to the face of the trim following the 45-degree angle. So I used a protractor to make a tiny mark at 45 degrees from the bottom mark. I turned the trim upside down to mark the bottom of it for cutting, and when I turned it back around, the paint had scratched off where it had rubbed against the floor, just for a second, very lightly.
Yeah, just very lightly, just turned it over, marked it, turned it back over.
But I don't blame the trim, I blame the paint for having to cure for 7 days. That's too long for paint to cure when you're trying to get shit done.
It's an acrylic-based latex, but it doesn't seem to be tough at all. So
well, we should try it again now that it's cured for 7 days or more than that.
I'm afraid I don't want to go scratch it, do you?
I'll just take more paint. Once I start vacuuming in there, we'll find out really quick.
Yeah, okay.
I like to bang that thing all over the place. Hey, wait a minute.
Don't edit that out. No, you can't edit that out. You gotta keep that. I love that. Oh, you got so red.
We dry fit each piece to make sure the measurements are good. The corners of the walls aren't exactly 90 degrees, so we sanded a bit off the back of the trim so they're not so pointy.
Can you nail it up? I guess you can.
Yeah.
But we have adobe walls.
Yeah, with a concrete footer.
So
not so good for nailing.
No, you can't nail shit into that. So we knew we were going to have to glue our baseboard trim up to the walls. You had picked out one from, the Gorilla Glue Company?
Yeah, Gorilla Glue.
Yeah.
Heavy duty construction adhesive.
Yeah, they make a version of their liquid nails.
Rallis cut the tip at an angle using the caulk gun. Usually you would use this pin to break the seal inside a tube of caulk, but this one is a little bit different.
Oh, this one's different. Ah! It's different. All right.
You have to unscrew the tip and actually cut off part of the tube.
We had one piece that was warped, like
It
bowed
bowed.
up or down.
It bowed up in the middle.
In the middle.
So you can see in the footage that I can stick my finger right underneath it.
So, like in my sleep, I was thinking about this issue, and I was like, "How are we going to do?" Because you can heat it up and bend it. So I came up with an idea of clamping it between a couple of boards and then hitting it with a heat gun on the back, so that we wouldn't mar the front of it. But
Since
it made,
I had already painted it.
yeah, but it made the back shrink a little bit.
Yeah,
that
so
was
it
okay.
bowed in a whole new direction.
Yeah. Right.
But that Gorilla Glue really grabbed on pretty much instantly
Yeah.
for the most of it.
Yes.
So
But
we
we
were
still-
able to
we
do
s-
the other wall too.
We still, though, we used some
We
wood.
did brace it, yeah.
Yeah, we did brace it.
That was also partially because our walls are a little wonky.
Yeah, everything in this house is wonky. It was built in 1947.
The next day I came through with paintable caulk to seal up the gaps in the wall and corners. I put on a thin bead, smooth it into the gaps with my finger, and then used damp paper towels to wipe away the excess. A few hours later, I came through with black paint to touch up the caulk. I'm freehanding where the vanity is going to cover the baseboard, and using blue tape for the exposed area of the wall where I want it to look nicer. The tape has to be removed while the paint is wet, so I'm being really careful not to let it get on the walls or floor. On the adobe wall, I'm doing kind of the opposite. I've taped off the trim and I'm using a gray paint to blend the caulk into the wall.
So, as always, our obligatory
Well,
thing.
hey, let me just kind of get back in here, please.
We have to do the obligatory thing where we say, hey, make sure you please subscribe, hit the like button or the dislike button, and hit the notification bell so that you're ready next video when we're talking about installing the vanity. And what else are we talking about on that one?
We also install the toilet, and the best thing, I think, is this really cool little valve cover behind the vanity.
Oh, yeah.
I know, I had forgotten about that too.
Wow, yeah, that was cool because we had to do that, a little creative engineering. And that was easy.
That went well. It went very smoothly, just as expected.
So many of these things are harder than they should be. I mean, me and that damn search for the correct construction adhesive for the PVC trim. I was pulling my freaking hair out over that. It's kind of like you with the light switch.
Oh, God. Why would you bring that up?
So anyway, make sure that you subscribe, like, hit the notification bell so that you can find out about the next video coming up and go through our trials and tribulations with us. All right, we'll see you then. Bye.